Hey guys, I got another video to share with you, Star Trek related item. This one is from Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. This is the Klingon cruiser. It's marketed as the Klingon cruiser, but it's actually Chancellor Gorkon's ship. This is the flagship of the Klingon Empire Kronos 1. It's a little bit dented on the top, but that's okay. And the plastic is a little bit open over there, but you can see the box is still in pretty good shape. I'm going to show you the instructions. I'll give you the information about the model, and I'll put up plenty of pictures of what's inside the box. Now, Star Trek VI, interesting. It starts off, we see an explosion, and it's actually the moon of Praxis, the Klingon moon. And what ends up happening is, because of that explosion, the Klingon homeworld is going to be extinct in about 50 years because of the damage caused by the explosion of the moon. So they reach out to the Federation and they want to make a peace treaty. Well, you know, up to this point, the Klingons haven't exactly been allies. You know, we see Worf in the Klingons, but that's in Star Trek The Next Generation. That's a long way off. Remember, it's the Klingons that killed then Admiral Kirk's son. That was in Star Trek III, The Search for Spock. So they're not feeling too comfortable with Klingons. So the Klingons want to reach out and they want to make peace. So the Federation figures, well, Ambassador Spock figures, what better peace branch would be than to send the Enterprise along with Captain Kirk. So Mr. Spock, Ambassador Spock, kind of volunteers Kirk. Anyway, to make a long story short, they're the ones that go out with the olive branch. They're going to escort Kronos 1 back so they can have negotiations between the Federation and the Klingon Empire. Of course, that doesn't sit well on both sides. There are some people in the Federation that don't want peace with the Klingons, and there are some people that are Klingon that don't want peace with the Federation. During this time, they've been working on a prototype of a Klingon bird of prey that can actually fire while cloaked. And that comes into play in this movie, because what's happening is, while they're trying to negotiate for peace, General Chang actually has the prototype bird of prey, and he fires on Kronos 1 from beneath the Enterprise, and he makes it look like the Enterprise indeed fired. So what happens is, after the Klingon bird of prey prototype fires on Kronos 1, it comes about, there's a lot of damage because the shields weren't up, and two people beam over dressed in Federation attire, and they proceed to assassinate Chancellor Gorkon. And what ends up happening is Kirk and Dr. McCoy head over to the Klingon ship to try to help him, but the Chancellor ultimately dies. Dr. McCoy and Captain Kirk are taken into custody because they're seen as the aggressors, and they're sent to a penal colony after they're tried and convicted. They're sent to Ruro Penthe. Kirk and McCoy ultimately get rescued, and they get sent back to the Enterprise, and they ultimately save the day. The ploy to assassinate the leader of the Federation is foiled. General Chang is ultimately destroyed as the Enterprise figures out a way to have a photon torpedo. With a little help from Dr. McCoy, Mr. Spock alters it so it can actually read its exhaust. And when Chang thinks it's safe, Kirk fires the torpedo and it goes right to Chang. Once the explosion damages the cloaking device, the Excelsior and the Enterprise A are able to destroy the prototype. So back to the model. With the model, interesting, the color scheme that the model instructions call for is a light gull gray. And it's funny because this kit is actually modeled in light blue plastic. It's like a light blue, kind of like the Enterprise was in the 80s release, the AMT Enterprise kit. Some of them were like that light blue, powder blue kind of color. That's what this is. We have seen this model kit before. This was also from Star Trek the Motion Picture. If you remember the 3 Klingon cruisers that were going through space and they were ultimately attacked by V'ger. This is the same concept along the D7 type battle cruiser. But this is later on and it's more advanced. And this is actually, like I said, Kronos 1, the flagship of the Klingon Empire, carrying Chancellor Gorkon. I'll show you, like I said, I'll put up the instructions for you to see. In order to get this part lit up like that, you'd have to drill in. The 1/350 scale version of this ship, I'm so looking forward to doing. It's just going to be able to be lit so wonderfully. With this model, you'll have to drill out each individual window. It can be done in order to light the ship, but that's where we are with this model kit. Again, this is also the same molding from Star Trek the Motion Picture, and when it's assembled, it's over 15 inches long, and let me read, it's highly detailed model kit, over 15 inches long, assembled, contains authentic decals, display stand included. Now this is the same display stand that was in the original AMT kits from Star Trek back in '66, I believe. With the Enterprise, it was that kind of triangular kind of base. They ended up bringing it back for when they did the Enterprise from Star Trek the Motion Picture, and they ended up bringing it back for the Klingon ship. So the base is the Klingon, is the plain kind of triangular base. The sort of feathers, the embossing details on the ship is molded into plastic. You can see that the lights on the nacelles, the warp nacelles, are lit. That would be pretty hard to do only because it's solid plastic. So in order to light the inner panels, you'd have to get an aftermarket piece or figure out a way to cut and put clear styrene in its place. Show you a little bit of the side of the box. It's really the same as the front. You can see a picture of the ship. This is kit number 8229, AMT Ertl from Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. It shows you some pictures of the finished model on the box. Let me see if I can find a date on here. I think it's 1997. Let me show you the back. For some reason the numbers, I don't know if you can make that out, 1953. Of course it's not that old. You can see the back, the printing. It does. Actually 1991, I'm sorry, it's not 1997. It's in that little dent. Contains 33 parts, over 15 inches long when assembled, display stand included. Contains authentic decals and complete instructions. Paint and cement not included. It does give a painting guide, and like I said, that that will be up. I'll share all the instructions with you. If you're curious about what the instructions are or what the painting scheme is, you may have this same kit. You may have lost the instructions, or you may just have the Star Trek the Motion Picture version and you want to compare. But anyway, this is the AMT Ertl Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country Klingon Cruiser. And this is Chancellor Gorkon's flagship, Kronos 1, from the Klingon Empire, the flagship of the Klingon Empire. So if you were curious about this model kit, I hope I gave you a little bit of information that satisfies your curiosity. And until the next video, I hope you guys stay safe, and I'll talk to you soon.